Hi, my name's Elaine Doyle, the Director of Development at St Mary's College. And today I have the pleasure of talking with David O'Mara. He is our Director of Music and has been for a very long time with Christian Brothers College CBC and now St Mary's College. So I'd like to ask David first off, how long have you worked at Christian Brothers College and St Mary's College?
I started here in 2009, you know.
So, David, you're a alumni
That's right.
of CBC. When did you go to school at CBC?
I'm an old boy, I tell the students. I can't believe this, late 60s, early 70s. That's a long.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So things would have been a lot different to what they were
Ah,
now.
place was awash with black satans with the Christian Brothers everywhere.
I'm thinking back in the day, was music a big part of the program when you were at school?
Not as a subject. Music wasn't a subject in the senior year levels, but we always had the cadet band, the Army Cadets. CBC had a long tradition of the Army Cadets going back from beginning of the 1900s, I think, somewhere around there, or after the First World War. And the Army Cadets had a band. And so the school band was the Army Cadet Band.
So was that like more of a marching type
Yeah,
band?
it was a brass band. A lot of
Yeah.
only a few schools had bands in their programs in those days in their schools, and if they did, they tended to have brass bands, especially the boys' schools, to still play the brass instruments. No saxophones, no flutes, clarinets like we have now, which is called a concert band.
Okay. So is that where your love of music came from, or have you come from a musical family?
Well, I started piano when I was young, and my father was an entertainer and an actor on TV, and knew a lot of musicians and people. And his father, my grandfather, who I didn't know was a musician, professional musician, he played piano and worked in New York and ran bands in Melbourne. So there was music in my family, yes, definitely. And then when I came to CBC, and I fell in love with the trumpet. I wanted to join the Army Cadet Band as a trumpet player, and my dad knew trumpet players, so he found me a teacher, and away I went.
Fantastic. And the story goes on from there.
Yeah.
So, what's how had that shaped you becoming a teacher and becoming a music teacher? Did you find that your love of music was so strong that you wanted to teach music? How did that
I'm,
pan out?
like all musicians, I wanted to play music,
Yeah.
and I did for many, many years. When I left school, I worked in the city for a while, and then I joined the Navy band and did training. And as a trumpet player, I joined, and then they asked me to learn the French horn, which then opened up the whole world of classical music to me because I wanted to be a jazz trumpet player. But then I took a whole left turn at Albuquerque, and became a classical French horn player.
Fantastic. So, what other instruments do you play? You mentioned the piano, the trumpet, the French horn.
I play, yeah, keyboards, piano, flugelhorn. I play valve trombone, which I love. It's a trombone instead of the slide with the valves, just makes it
Okay.
easier.
Yeah. So, you've been the director of music at CBC and St Mary's College for many years now. So, you would have put on so many concerts
Yeah.
and so many musicals. Tell us a few of your highlights. I know there's probably so many of them. What will you remember going forward?
Oh, I think as a student here, I remembered the Anzac Day services
Yeah.
at school. There's a long tradition there, and they're very powerful. And once I'd been here a couple of years, I got the band developed enough to where we got involved with that service. And then, as a result of that, we also do the Caulfield RSL's dawn service, which is like on Anzac Day itself. And I think that's fabulous that the students have an authentic Anzac experience like that, and community service. And as far as I know, we're one of the few school bands that goes out and plays things like that in the community. The musicals have always been great fun. Working on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory at the moment, a lot of work, but when you see the finished product, and the kids and students having such a great time and putting on such a great show, it's really fantastic. You've just got to enjoy the ride as it all goes on. But they're always great fun, and lots of concerts and some fantastic students coming through. Some who have gone on to professional careers and studying. Finding talented students. It's always a buzz when you find someone that's you give them an instrument and they take off. It's great.
Yeah, I've seen the joy in the students who are practicing for the musical, and I can't wait for the performance.
Oh,
And
the
it's
one
been very challenging with
in
all the
all my
COVID
in my
restrictions.
all my nearly 30 years of teaching, this is the most amazing group of students in a musical I've ever seen. The first rehearsal, they just all sang full on, passionately committed. And I thought, wow, because normally we've got to say, louder, give us a bit more. They just were awesome. So I thought this is going to be a really lot of fun, and it has been.
Do you think us being a co-ed school now has enhanced that or helped facilitate that enthusiasm for the musical?
Well, we've always had the tradition between
Yeah,
PCW. One PCW would host it one year and CBC the other, and then we thought it's better to have like one team doing it rather than splitting duties every year and some people having to be skilled up every year. So we did create a company between the two schools before PCW closed, and having the girls. I mean, you need girls, I think, and
mm,
boys. You need both sexes to have a really good musical. Some girls' schools don't; they just have all girls, and that's the way of approaching it. Most will get together, if they are a boys' school, will get together with a sister school, so to speak, and put on their musicals. But we don't have to do that anymore now. It's all in
I
house.
know. I was watching them for a little while yesterday, and there was so much excitement and enthusiasm in that room. And I just think that experience will carry on with those students
Yeah.
for the rest of their life, probably.
Well,
It's
that's what I
just
tell this.
magic.
I don't remember anything of much of my maths classes, or one or two English classes, but I remember music camps. I remember
Yeah.
concerts. I remember army cadet camps. I remember those extracurricular things are the things that really stayed with me when I left school.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
amazing to be part of something that you know that will carry on in people's minds after they've left the school. So it's a terrific career, I think, that you've had. So one of the other things that I noticed when I joined the school this year was the rock bands. Now,
Oh, yeah.
this is something that I know you're very passionate about. Tell us more about the history of the rock bands and how you develop the kids to get together and join these amazing bands.
Yeah, the rock bands, we've had a lot of success there, winning the ACC Battle of the Bands quite a few times. And it's coming up this next month. We're hosting it this year again. So we're optimistic our year nine rock band might do well this year. The rock bands, look, I'm a classically trained musician, although I do play in bands and I started going into that area. But when I saw the students with so much passion and commitment, which our rock students have, you realise that you've just got to nurture that and get them playing. And so they tend to form themselves, the rock groups, or occasionally we help put the groups together from year seven because sometimes they want to play rock but they don't quite know how to go about it.
Mm.
And we have Charlie Rook, our guitar teacher, who is fantastic, one of the
Yeah,
best guitar teachers and players in Melbourne, I think. Because I say that because all of his students can play incredibly well. So he's our rock group coach, and he coaches the group so they don't get stuck and they know what they're doing. And the energy and commitment's fantastic. When I first came here, I inherited a brass band and a rock trio who were outstanding. Like they were really awesome. So what I did, I put the rock trio in with the brass band, and we did things like 2001 Space, that
mm,
but with a really driving soul funk rhythm section. So it was really a lot of fun to play around with that. So when you've got these great players, which the rock kids are, you've got to give them opportunities.
I'm sure there might be alumni who will view this video and have been in some of those bands and remember that
One
experience.
my brother still talks about it. He started drums and was in a band called The Cram when he was at CBC, and another one called Harper Lee, named after the author. And he did his first concert in St Mary's Hall, the old hall next door for the primary school. And he got quite nostalgic, and I had to go and take him in, and he took photos.
Oh, wonderful.
Did his first gig in there with the school band from, the rock band from CBC, and he went on for years with some of those guys playing.
That's fantastic. And music is such a big part of the program and such a popular part of the program at our school. And so, what's next for you, David?
Yeah, well, this is my final year. After 29 years of teaching, I'm going to go to Lismore, retire, and go to Lismore, New South Wales, and play. I've got uh,
Great.
I've got a lot of people out there waiting for me to come up, and there's an orchestra there. There's two bands, They're on trumpet in one of the bands and French horn in the orchestra. There's a conservatorium of music there. There's a jazz course at the university. I've got friends from Melbourne up there, so I'm really looking forward to it. Just a whole new change of life, and a lot of more playing, I hope. Yeah.
Sounds fantastic. You'll have to keep us informed of any concerts and performances so we can watch them, and maybe one day if we're up there we can watch you
Yeah,
play.
well, if you're in Lismore and you hear a band, have a look. It's probably me in there somewhere playing a trumpet or a trombone or something. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, music's great like that. That's why I like teaching, because when if students do get the love of playing and instruments, it's a lifelong gift.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, David, for giving these students this gift. And any other parting words you'd like to say?
He who loves his work doesn't work. Bottom line.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you for talking today. Bye.